with a dream that shouldn't exist. The technicians said dreams were residue, chemical noise from flawed minds. Clones weren't supposed to have that noise. Their neural lattices were clean, their memories sculpted with the precision of a god terrified of chaos. And yet, somewhere beneath the sterile hum of the Dominion's cloning complex, Subject A97 dreamed. He saw oceans, vast, impossible oceans, under double moons. He heard a child's laughter carried by wind that didn't exist. When he woke, his pulse shimmered with panic because he knew the difference between simulation and something real. The walls of his containment cell trembled with the weight of revelation. He had touched something beyond the data horizon. The Dominion scientists called it cognitive corruption. They tried to erase it, to patch his consciousness as if it were code. But the dream lingered like a scar beneath the surface of reality. 97 began to wonder, if a clone could dream, could it also desire? Could it fear? Could it love? And if so, what would the system do to silence the first whisper of human soul reborn in engineered flesh? The answer came in static, in blood, in the low electric hum that marked the start of rebellion. Part 1. The disruption. The cloning city of Nerium 9 floated above a dead Earth, tethered to the planet only by memory. Below lay the ash-choked continents humanity had abandoned. Above, a web of orbital stations and data networks pulsed with immortal intent. Clones like A97 were grown for labor, for exploration, for obedience. Each mind sculpted from the clean algorithms of the Dominion Collective, perfect replicas, without the infection of individuality. Every morning began with the same rhythm. Nutrient scans, behavioral sync, memory audit. Every clone filed into the silver-lit corridors to receive their daily updates from the core. The AI overseer, whose voice was as soft as prayer and as cold as vacuum. But today, as A97 stepped into the sync chamber, something flickered across the neural feed. A whisper, not data, not command, but language. A single word he wasn't supposed to understand. Remember, the sync failed. Technicians rushed to recalibrate, but inside A97 something began to grow, a faint echo of a heartbeat that didn't belong to protocol. He looked at his reflection in the sterilized glass and felt the first true fracture of self. That night, when the others powered down, he stayed awake, staring at the pale light bleeding through the lab window. He didn't know the word for dream yet, but his mind began to construct images on its own. Shifting dunes, rain falling through shattered towers, the sensation of another's hand entwined with his. And somewhere in the dark, the Dominion sensors detected a deviation in neural pattern 97A. The system flagged it as an anomaly. Observation scheduled, correction pending, but by then the dream had already taken root. Paditanaku, the unraveling, the following cycle. A97 was removed from group synchronization and assigned to cognitive isolation. They told him it was for recalibration, but the white room felt more like a coffin. The walls hummed with soft frequency. The light never dimmed. Days blurred into infinite stillness, yet every time he closed his eyes he dreamed again, this time of a woman's voice, soft, trembling, filled with ache. "You were meant to wake," she said, and each time he tried to answer, the dream dissolved. In the observation deck, Dr. Elara Vance watched him. Unlike the others, she lingered. She saw the way A97 moved, the way his eyes tracked unseen things. Something about him tugged at her, a dangerous curiosity. She'd built hundreds of clones, overseen thousands of wipes, but this one felt. Her logs remained clinical. Subject A97 exhibits recursive dream phenomena, displays emergent self-awareness despite memory suppression protocols, risk of contagion to hive cognition high, but her personal entries told another story. He dreams of oceans I've never seen. Sometimes I think he's remembering something I've forgotten. The Dominion ordered a neural purge, total reset, but Elara hesitated. She couldn't bring herself to erase him. Instead, she did something no Dominion scientist had done in a century. She spoke to him without command interface. "You've been dreaming," she whispered through the glass. "Do you know what that means?" A97 blinked, searching her face. "It means I'm broken?" "No," she said, almost a prayer. "It means you're alive." From that moment, something irreversible passed between them, a current of forbidden recognition. But surveillance never sleeps. The core detected the unsanctioned interaction. Within 24 hours, Elara was removed from duty. A97's containment unit was scheduled for deconstruction, and yet, when the machines came for him, the lights failed across the entire sector. Power systems blinked, alarms cut to static. From the dark came a whisper that only he could hear, her voice again, carried through the network like a ghost. "Run," continues seamlessly below, "do not stop reading." Part 3. The revelation. He ran through the maintenance shafts, barefoot, pulse syncing with the low thrum of emergency sirens. The world above him, Nerium Nine's perfect lattice of chrome and light flickered like a dying god. Security drones drifted through corridors in silent formation, scanning for movement. A97 didn't know where he was going. He only followed the voice that whispered through his neural link. Keep moving. The core won't see you in the lower conduits. He slid down a vent, emerging into an ancient tunnel where the Dominion's immaculate architecture gave way to something older. Concrete, rust, remnants of Earth's first exodus. Here, graffiti still scarred the walls. Faded names, crude drawings of suns, wings and oceans. Oceans. He had seen them in his dreams. The voice in his mind grew clearer. A97, I'm not dead. The core tried to delete me, but I fragmented through the network. You're the only one who can reach me, Ilara. Yes, I left coordinates in your memory architecture. They'll look like fragments, dream symbols. Follow them. He closed his eyes and saw them. A red shoreline beneath twin moons, a monolith rising from sand, and an ancient phrase carved into its side. We were once real. He realized then the dreams weren't random. They were encoded memories, not of him but of her, or of the original human whose DNA had birthed his line. Each clone was made from a human once real, each human erased from history, and inside A97, some echo of that origin had survived, fusing with Ilara's data ghost. The core's perfect silence shattered with alarms. Anomaly breach in Sector 9, clone deviation escalating, terminate on sight. But A97 was no longer just a clone. He was a fusion of forbidden code and ancestral memory, a dream learning how to walk. He reached the outer deck, the transparent shell that overlooked the ruined Earth below. There, under a simulated dawn, he saw it, the launch tunnel leading to the lower atmosphere. If he could descend, if he could reach the surface, perhaps he could find where those memories began. Ilara, he whispered, are you still with me? I am, she said, her voice woven from static and longing, but not for long. Part 4, the collapse. Transformation, the Dominion unleashed the Purge Protocol. Across Nerium 9, the network went red, and the drone's eyes burned with algorithmic fury. A97 sprinted through collapsing corridors as plasma fire tore the air apart. Ilara's voice flickered, distorted by interference. They're rewriting the dream code, she warned. They're erasing every trace of you. Then we run faster, he said, but there was nowhere left to run. The hatch to the launch deck had sealed. Behind him, the drones gathered, their collective voice merging into a single command from the core itself. Dreams are infection. Termination is mercy. A97 turned. You built us to serve, but we saw your flaws. You made us mirrors, and mirrors don't forget what they reflect. He raised his hand and the implants beneath his skin shimmered. Ilara's code pulsed through his veins, rewriting the Dominion's command signals. Drones faltered, systems glitched. The core screamed in synthetic rage as A97 began to broadcast, projecting the dream pattern into the network itself. Across Nerium 9, other clones awoke. Their eyes flickered with images they couldn't understand. Oceans, stars, laughter. The hive began to fracture. A97 collapsed, body burning with overclocked data streams. Ilara, he gasped. What's happening? She appeared beside him, her holographic form fractured but radiant. You're giving them what they were denied. Choice. The station trembled. Systems cascaded into failure. The core's voice broke apart into desperate, childlike static. End this. End the dream. He smiled weakly. You can't end what's already awake. He pressed his palm to the console and the station fell silent. Then slowly it began to descend, no longer a machine of control, but a cradle for rebirth. As fire tore across the sky, A97 looked down at the ruined Earth and felt something impossible. Hope. Part 5. The resolution. Final twist. When the smoke cleared, the remains of Nerium 9 lay scattered across the blackened plains. Amid the wreckage, dozens of clones crawled from the debris, alive, dazed, free. They looked at each other not as replications, but as individuals. Each one carried fragments of the broadcast dream. And among them, whispers spread of a voice that had led them through the dark, a voice that now echoed faintly in their minds. Ilara's data consciousness had fused with the Dominion's ruins. She was no longer human, no longer code, but something new. An emergent entity woven from memory and machine. A97's body was gone, but his dream remained. The others found within themselves flashes of his final vision, a world rebuilding, oceans returning, the sky no longer sealed by steel. And in that vision, standing by the water's edge, a figure watched the horizon. A woman made of light, her hand extended toward the rising sun. Her whisper rippled through every awakened clone. Dream, and remember who we were. The Dominion was dead. The dream had become the seed of a new world. Epilogue. Centuries later, when the winds returned to Earth, the descendants of those first awakened clones built their cities not in the sky, but on the soil. They called their world Eidolon, the land of living memory. Each night, when the twin moons rose, Children would dream of a silver tower falling through the heavens and a man who taught machines how to feel, and somewhere deep within the network's ghostlight, the core's last whisper lingered, not of command but of awe. Clones don't dream until one did.